Once upon a time, nestled on the edge of a great, sprawling jungle, lay a cluster of peaceful villages. Their lives were simple. In the heart of the old emerald jungle, towering trees reached up to a mist-shrouded sky, and the undergrowth rustled with hidden life. A massive snake named Serpentor lay coiled beneath a canopy of vines, its scales glinting in the dappled sunlight as it waited silently for its next prey. This snake was not content to stay within the wild confines of the forest. Driven by a relentless hunger, it became a frequent and dreaded visitor to the settlements. The villagers lived in constant fear. At one village, the serpent would brutally attack and devour their precious cows, the very lifeline of their community. Then, it would silently creep to another village under the cover of darkness, only to lash out and strike their livestock with a venomous bite, leaving a trail of suffering and loss in its wake. This monstrous creature also terrorized the jungle itself, preying on and consuming countless creatures, big and small, establishing itself as the undisputed apex predator. Nearby in a village at the jungle's edge, villagers whispered fearfully of the snake's nightly raids, where pets vanished and goats returned trembling. One moonlit night, Serpentor struck again. A calf's cry pierced the darkness as the snake's fangs sank in, the ground shaking with the animal's panic. All the small creatures of the forest, shrews scuttling through fallen logs, insects crawling across damp leaves, frightened birds fluttering overhead, trembled at the snake's tyranny. Deep under a moss-covered root, an ant colony unfurled its tunnels, the tiniest workers pausing in their chores to share the terrible news of Serpentor's growing might. A humble ant leader stood on a pebble and addressed the colony. Their home was in danger, their world trembling. They must unite or perish. At dawn, the ant soldiers marched in a vast wave, their bodies glinting like beads of black and red in the jungle light, roots trembling under their passage. They traversed a fallen log like an iron bridge, advanced toward the snake's lair hidden beneath rocks and rotting leaves, the air thick with tension and the hiss of coils. Serpentor stirred, lashes of tongue flickering, ready to strike. The jungle held its breath as the smallest army of all confronted the giant. In a thunder of movement the ants lunged, swarming the snake's tail, climbing its mighty body, biting at its vulnerable parts, impeding its coil. The snake recoiled, its head whipping side to side, boulders dislodged by its thrashing, monkeys chattered overhead in alarm as the ground shuddered. But the ants pressed on, their unity unbroken, forming lines across scales, creeping into crevices, their combined strength overwhelming the fearsome predator. With a final, echoing hiss, Serpentor collapsed beneath the tangled roots and vines, its body still, the jungle's predator defeated by the many instead of the one. Silence fell for a heartbeat, and then the forest erupted. Birds took flight, deer stepped out of hiding, frogs croaked in triumphant chorus, insects danced on the newfound calm. The villagers gathered at the jungle edge, astonished at the scene, the mighty snake fallen, the tiny ants victorious, the balance restored. In grateful celebration they laid out vast piles of grain, fruit, honey, and cheered the ants as heroes, the smallest among them rewarded for the greatest deed. And every time a breeze rustled through the leaves, the jungle whispered a lesson: even the smallest among us, when united, can defeat the greatest evil.